Hello and thanks for joining us on the News at 10 on NTA News 24. I am Stella Inameti. The headlines. President Tinubu reconstitutes NNPC Limited Board, appoints new chairman, Group CEO. Edo State Governor pays condolence visits to families of victims of Uromi tragedy. Vice President Kashim Shettima urges Nigerians to embrace unity, peaceful coexistence and tolerance as key pillars for national progress. Correspondent examines Nigeria's efforts against Lassa fever. Thanks again for joining us. We begin the news by telling you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved a sweeping reconstitution of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company NNPC Limited Board, removing the chairman, Chief Pius Akinye Rule, and the Group Chief Executive Officer, Malam Mele Kolo-Kyari. President Tinubu removed all other board members appointed with Akinye Lure and Kyari in November 2023. The new 11-man board has Engineer Bashir Bayo Ojulari as the Group CEO and Amadu Musa Kida as non-executive chairman. Adedapo Shegun, who replaced Umaru Isajia as the Chief Financial Officer last November, has been appointed to the new board by President Tinubu. 6 board members, non-executive directors, represent the country's geopolitical zones. They are Bello Rabiu, Northwest, Yusuf Usman, Northeast, and Babs Omotsowa, a former managing director of the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas, who represents North Central. President Tinubu appointed Austin Avuru as a non-executive director from the South-South, David Ige as a non-executive director from the Southwest, and Henry Obi as a non-executive director from the Southeast. Mrs. Lydia Shehu Jafia, Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Finance, will represent the ministry on the new board, while Aminu Saeed Ahmed will represent the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. All the appointments are effective today, April 2nd. President Tinubu, invoking the powers granted under Section 59, Subsection 2 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, emphasized that the board's restructuring is crucial for enhancing operational efficiency, restoring investor confidence, boosting local content, driving economic growth, and advancing gas commercialization and diversification. The Edo Governorship Tribunal will today rule on PDP's petition challenging Monday Okpebholo's victory in the September 2024 election. The 3-member panel, led by Justice Wilfred Pochi, had on March 3rd reserved judgment in the petition filed by PDP and its candidate, Asue Igadalo, against the election of Monday Okpebholo of APC as governor of this state. And now joining us from the tribunal this morning for more updates is our correspondent, Dele Atumbi. Dele, what is the general atmosphere at the tribunal as everyone awaits the judgment?
Thank you, Stella. The atmosphere here is peaceful and calm. The security arrangement here is very tight at the National Judicial Institute. And how did we get to this point? The 3-man tribunal was sitting in Benin. And on the 27th of January, the tribunal relocated to Abuja. And no reason was given for the tribunal relocation. As at today, the tribunal would dispense justice on 3 petitions: that of Labour Party, that of PDP, and 1 other petition. And when it comes to the issue of the tribunal sitting, take a look at section 285, subsection 6 of the Nigerian Constitution. It will reveal to Nigerians that that aspect of the Constitution says that 180 days tribunal should not spend more than 180 days, which is important to the law, so that there will be speedy dispensation of election matters, and that is done in improving the Nigeria, in improving the electoral process. And today, the panel will be taking a critical look at 3 petitions, and those 3 petitions will now be decided. As a matter of fact, as at the time I'm talking to you, the 3-man panel had come in, and that shows that they are about to dispense justice on the 3 petitions. And with the 3 petitions to be dispensed with at this point in time, both the petitioners and the respondents, they will definitely know their faith. And what is the cause of the matter? They are challenging the election and the declaration of Governor Monday Okpebholo as the governor of Edo State. And if you take a look at the result that was declared by INEC, Governor Monday Okpebholo polled through 191,667 votes, as against the second runner-up that had 244,000 votes. So we can take a critical look at this. The people expect that the tribunal will do justice to what is before it. And one thing I know about tribunal is that they will not go outside what had been put before them.
Okay, thank you, Dele. You have given us an extensive update at this hour. We expect more news from the tribunal as soon as they break. Now moving on, families of victims of Uromi tragedy have joined Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf in commending the governor of Edo State, Monday Okpebholo's compassion and solidarity towards them. This was as the governor paid a condolence visit to Torankawa community in Bunkure local government area of Kano State. Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
Torankawa, a community in Bunkure local government area of Kano State, is grappling with sorrow rather than celebration of this Eid al-Fitr season. The usual joy of the holiday has been overshadowed by a tragedy, as 7 of their sons were among 16 travelers murdered in Uromi, Edo State, while on their way home to mark the festive occasion. Yet, Torankawa's grief is not one they bear alone. In a gesture of solidarity, Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo visited the mourning families alongside his counterpart Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State. Governor Okpebholo, who addressed them in Hausa language, promised not only that justice would be served, but also that the affected families would receive the necessary assistance during this difficult time.
So far, 14 arrests have been made, and the suspects are in police custody. Everything will be okay. By the grace of God. Thank you very much.
The visit was appreciated by the community, with local leaders, including Muhammad Isa Umar, expressing their gratitude for the compassion. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
In the same development, the 16th Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, has described as patriotic the proactive approach of the Edo State governor in addressing the aftermath of the Uromi disturbance that led to the death of 16 travelers. He was speaking during a Salah homage on Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf at the Kano Government House. Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
Unlike in the previous years, the royal father arrived at the government house in a motor vehicle. Traditionally, it is used to pay Salah homage on the governor and convey the plights of the masses for government's action. Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II, while congratulating Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf for his administration's development programs and projects, thanked him for ensuring peaceful coexistence in the state. He also commended the patriotic approach of Governor Monday Okpebholo of Edo State to the unfortunate incident in Uromi that led to the death of 16 travelers. Emir Sanusi stressed that the governor's response has helped heal the wounds of the affected families, demonstrating a commitment to both leadership and empathy. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf expressed gratitude for the Emir's visit, acknowledging the valuable counsel and support provided by the royal father. He reiterated that such advisory guidance is essential to the state's continued development. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the leadership of the governing All Progressives Congress, APC, Edo State chapter, has called on the opposition, PDP, to trade with caution, especially on issues that pertain to security in the state, as Governor Monday Okpebholo is doing everything within the ambit of available resources to ensure democracy, rule of law, and fundamental human rights thrive. Chairman of the party, Emperor Jairet Tenebe, said the alleged plot by the PDP to make Edo State ungovernable using the recent happenings, particularly the Uromi massacre, as a blackmail for security failure, and urged them to desist from fanning the amber of confusion and chaos.
I call on security agencies to immediately arrest Tony Azegbemi and other PDP leaders involved in their treasonous act. Furthermore, I urge the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to liaise with embassies in countries where these PDP members reside and request their extradition for prosecution. Terrorism and violent attack cannot and will not be tolerated.
The party said their plan for the declaration of a state of emergency will not work because Governor Okpebholo is managing the state and putting the right infrastructure in place for the rebirth of the state. Meanwhile, the minority caucus of the House of Representatives has condemned the murder of 16 Nigerians in Edo State, describing it as barbaric. In a statement, the caucus says such brutal killings of innocent Nigerians in any part of the country by lawless mobs must not be allowed to fester without decisive actions by the federal government. It implores all Nigerians to eschew jungle attacks on their fellow citizens, but to utilize the services of lawful authorities to address security concerns. The minority caucus also urges the relevant tiers of government and security agencies to expedite investigations to apprehend the culprits and also ensure that adequate compensation is paid to the affected families. Similarly, the Because of Our Tomorrow Boot Party has strongly condemned the Uromi tragedy Edo State that led to loss of lives of some hunters. In a statement from the Boot Party National Chairman, Sunday Adenuga, the party urges government to take immediate action to ensure that justice is served for the victims and their families. The Boot Party appeals that while the desire for swift justice is understandable, it is imperative that all measures remain within the boundaries of the law to prevent further erosion of civil order. The thoughts and prayers of the Boot Party, says, are with the victims and their families at this time. And still on the Uromi killings, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, has lauded the governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebholo, for his swift and decisive actions following the tragic killing of travelers in Uromi, Edo State on March 27, 2025. In a statement by the Executive Director of CISLAC, Awal Musa Rufsanjani, the organization expressed strong support for Governor Okpebholo's response after the horrific incident. The governor not only visited the bereaved families in Kano State to offer his condolences, but also assured them of his commitment to justice. As a civil society organization dedicated to promoting good governance, rule of law, and the protection of human rights, CISLAC strongly supports the governor's actions, especially the disbanding of unregulated vigilante groups that pose a serious threat to public safety and the rule of law. This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. More stories after this break.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of the sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their social economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, 1 person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, 1 person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. Please visit the nearest government hospital or primary healthcare center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Vice President Kashim Shettima has urged Nigerians to embrace unity, peaceful coexistence and tolerance as key pillars for national progress, drawing from the lessons of Ramadan. He made the call in Maiduguri during a luncheon with Borno State elders and his schoolmates in celebration of Eid al-Fitr. State House correspondent Abdulrahman Jibrila reports.
Members of the highly revered Borno Elders Forum here to celebrate with Vice President Kashim Shettima for the successful end of Ramadan fast and also appreciate his role in advancing Nigeria's transformation under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. Vice President Kashim Shettima called on them to support the administration's ongoing economic reforms, assuring that the short-term difficulties will yield long-term benefits for the country. The Vice President, who spoke through the member representing Maiduguri Metropolitan Constituency and House of Representatives, Abdul Qadir Rahis, said there was a need for continued harmony among citizens.
I wish also to say that we should all, at all times, maintain and build on this sense of unity, community, for our collective gain and purpose as a people. May Almighty Allah protect the Vice President, our boss, our mentor, the good people of Borno State and Nigeria in general.
Vice President Shettima said President Tinubu remains committed to implementing policies that will create sustainable development, urging Nigerians to continue embodying the spiritual lessons gained during Ramadan as a pathway to national development. He enjoined the citizens of Borno State and Nigerians in general to always maintain threads of humility, communal living, and values, which he described as foundation for national progress. Chairman of the Borno State Elders Forum, Gambo Gubuyo, expressed appreciation for the Vice President's hospitality and assured him of continued prayers for success in his duties.
I want Nigerians to emulate him, Nigerians to give him the maximum cooperation as he deputized his boss, His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, while urging all to put all hands on deck to pray for the lasting peaceful coexistence of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Extreme gentleman, of high, immense character. And we are all proud of him, and everybody is proud of him to see, like I said, the faces of the people that have attended this wonderful event.
Other stakeholders urged Nigerians to rally round President Tinubu, stressing the need for continued prayers and support towards the implementation of the administration's policies for the improvement of the economy and overall development of Nigeria. From Maiduguri, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
In the same development, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has enjoined the Muslim community in the state to partner with the state government in the fight against crimes and criminalities in order to ensure the safety of all and sundry living in the state. He made the appeal during a special Salah banquet held at the Government House, Owerri, as part of activities marking this year's Eid el-Fitr celebration in the state. Kingsley Ononi, who has the details, as presented from our studios.
Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, while congratulating Muslim faithful in the state on their successful completion of the 2025 Ramadan season, urged them to remain committed to fostering harmony among themselves and members of other religions, as well as contribute their quota to the development of the state. He therefore sought the partnership of the Muslim community towards the eradication of all manners of crime and criminality.
Help the government to fight crime. Help the government to stop violence. Learn how to tolerate each other. We don't want disunity among the Muslims. We want you to be united. We want you to love yourselves. We want you to work together. We want you to do only those things that the Holy Quran allows.
The leader of Hausa community in Imo State, Awal Baba Suleiman, commended the governor for his inclusive governance.
Your leadership has fostered an environment whereby Muslims community in Imo State feel secured, valued, and integral to the socio-economic fabric of Imo State. Through your administration's dedication to security, business-friendly policies, and inclusive governance, you have reaffirmed that Imo State is a land of opportunity for all who reside lawfully within its bounds.
The Salah banquet was also attended by some non-Muslim leaders in the state.
And in the spirit of Eid el-Fitr celebrations, the Yobe State government has extended a hand of kindness to Almajiri pupils by providing them with free Salah meals, ensuring these children are not left behind during the festive season. The gesture is part of government's efforts to promote the welfare and well-being of vulnerable children who often struggle to make ends meet. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
Yobe State in northeast Nigeria is a hub for Almajiris from various northern states who come to learn the art of reciting and memorizing the Holy Quran. As a result, they can be found in all nooks and crannies of the state. This category of children is usually touted as vulnerable and marginalized, particularly during festive seasons. However, in Yobe State, they now have a reason to rejoice, thanks to the distribution of free Salah meals by the state government in the spirit of the season. We are thrilled by this heartwarming gesture and hope it will be sustained.
Sharing food and extending kindness are some of the activities that this period encourages.
Under this initiative, 3,600 Almajiri pupils in 6 local government areas of the state are benefiting from this gesture, aims to provide a sense of belonging and happiness to these children who are often overlooked during celebrations.
This particular program aims at building synergy between the state government and Almajiri schools so that they can feel the government is theirs, they can see the government has concern for them, and it is quite motivational so that when the government comes with policies and programs, they can easily grab it.
What the Northeast Development Commission is to support and encourage the state government and encourage the teachers of the Almajiri to have these occasions at home instead of roaming around.
As part of the celebrations, people are encouraged to extend some act of kindness to those around them. Happy Eid al-Fitr Salah celebrations. In Damaturu, Yunus Aslim, NTA News.
The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has reaffirmed the Nigerian Air Force's commitment to the welfare and operational effectiveness of its personnel. A statement by the Deputy Director, Public Relations and Information Group Captain Kabir Ali said this at the 2025 Salah launch with troops of the Air Component Operation Fasan Yama in Katsina State. Represented by the Air Officer Commanding Special Operations Command, Air Vice Marshal Usman Abdullahi, the Chief of Air Staff, commended the troops for their resilience, dedication and professionalism in safeguarding the nation, assuring them that their sacrifices will not go unrecognized. He urged the troops to remain steadfast in their mission to restore normalcy and acknowledged President Tinubu's support for the NAF. And ahead of the commencement of the recall process against the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the People's Democratic Party Youth Alliance for Good Governance is urging the leadership of the National Assembly to impose sanctions on erring lawmakers to maintain the sanctity of the legislature. Addressing the media in Abuja, the national coordinator of the Youth Alliance, Ikemba Ikoku, explained that the continuous deadlock and political maneuvering in the National Assembly amount to a betrayal of democracy.
According to Order 5, Sub 1H of Senate Standing Rules, orders as amended, which states, every senator shall ensure that his representation in the Senate is to the benefit of his constituents and not for personal aggrandizement. Across the board, democratic nations upheld strict accountability measures. Nigerians must do the same. Misconduct in the National Assembly delays critical legislation, misrepresents constituents, and damages national credibility. When senators violate rules or fail in their duties, they must face consequences.
The PDP Youth Alliance believes that lawmakers are elected to serve the people and not to engage in endless power struggles while critical national issues remain unaddressed. This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. More stories after this break. Thanks for staying. Success in any ongoing project lies not only in momentary victories, but in the commitment to continuous progress, where each step builds the foundation for the next. This is what played out as the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, DEPOA President Musa, inaugurated the Culinary Arts Center to offer practical skills like food preparation and nutrition, as well as training about food sustainability, local ingredients, and entrepreneurship. The center, according to DEPOA, is opened to all for short courses to empower and provide career path that aligns with passion.
And also for our culinary arts students from DEPOA Skill Acquisition Center. This is where they're going to also receive their training.
And I know a lot of people, a lot of students, people outside are going to benefit a lot from this place. Because a lot of people, because just this one might not be enough, but when we have more, it's going to help in different places.
For many students, this will be a life-changing opportunity to cultivate both their creativity and independence. Nigeria's railway sector remains an untapped industry, holding immense prospects and potential to transform the country's socio-economic growth and prosperity. Transport correspondent Ladi Bala examines the vital role of private sector participation in accelerating an effective railway system in Nigeria.
Decades after independence, Nigeria's railway system remains a work in progress. Despite successive administration's efforts, the sector still needs significant transformation to meet its full potential. However, the current administration has shown willingness to make the railway system more effective. Experts agree that government alone cannot drive this process. Private sector participation is essential to unlock the sector's true potential.
But it's open, the opportunity is there to invest. Okay, it will generate employment, it is create competition, which is very necessary between them, this type of operator and railway corporation, which is also an operator. So, and that will bring what? To bring better services to the people. You can actually invest in infrastructure as a private sector person, okay, by direct investment, or you want to join government by PPP.
According to experts, the railway sector is Nigeria's next oil waiting to be harnessed.
Government can incentivize the private sector, can kickstart the opportunities for the private sector. In most of the developed economies, actually government takes it upon themselves to move people and goods on rail. By building good road networks, you'll find that private entities will become interested, get into that space and start to maximize the opportunity and the value chain.
With private sector involvement, this vital mode of transportation can be transformed and drive socio-economic growth. In Abuja, Ladi Bala, NTA News.
Irrigation projects are being earmarked and work ongoing in the 36 states and the FCT to boost agricultural activities and ensure food security in Nigeria. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Telumun Utsev, stated this while inspecting 3 ongoing projects on the 3,000 hectares of irrigable land in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. Charles Abba has details.
Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Telumun said are irrigation channels, which he said is 90% completed, drip irrigation 67% completed, and study and design of expansion of the irrigable land.
We have marked 1,200 for the one that is ongoing, the one that is both on study and design, and the one that are constructing the channels. Then the remaining 1,800, we have marked that one for the program that is coming up, which is called the Sustainable Power and Irrigation for Nigeria.
He explained that crops that are ready for harvest on the farm are maize, garden eggs, pepper, and beans.
When there's no water,
When there's no crop, no food. When there's no food, no life. And when there's no life, no nation.
The minister indicated that among the several dams being embarked on, the Otuko multipurpose dam is being rehabilitated with plans to incorporate hydropower components to solve its water problem and others. Professor Osef also flagged off a feeder road from Jingi to Kume in Buruku local government area and inaugurated a 1.5-kilometer access road for Ugondo community in Makudi.
That will help our farmers to go to farms, to bring their inputs both to their homes for consumption and take it to market for sales.
He assured Nigerians that the projects which have been executed are to deliver on the promises of Mr. President to turn around the fortunes of the citizens. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
On the foreign scene, Chinese President Xi Jinping has reiterated China's commitment to fostering an open and stable business environment as he met with global CEOs in Beijing. The high-level engagement at the Great Hall of the People focused on deepening economic cooperation, easing market access, and reaffirming China's role in global trade. Diplomatic correspondent Patricia Esami-Luba reports that the meeting comes at the time of growing economic uncertainties as China seeks to reassure international investors, including those from Africa, of its long-term business prospects.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has reaffirmed China's commitment to fostering a more open business environment as he met with top executives from leading multinational corporations in Beijing. The high-level meeting held at the Great Hall of the People brought together CEOs from companies such as AstraZeneca, FedEx, and Saudi Aramco, alongside executives from BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Qualcomm. Also in attendance were representatives from African businesses and government delegations, reflecting China's growing economic ties with the continent. President Xi acknowledged the contributions of foreign enterprises to China's industrial growth, trade expansion, and job creation, stressing that they remain integral to the country's modernization and economic development.
All of this shows that foreign businesses are important participants in Chinese modernization. You are important participants in China's reform, opening, and innovation. You are also important participants in China's interconnectivity with the world and its integration into economic globalization.
The meeting also served as a platform to discuss strengthening China-Africa economic relations, particularly in areas such as infrastructure, technology transfer, and trade diversification. With China being Nigeria's largest trading partner, discussions focused on deepening cooperation in key sectors, including manufacturing, renewable energy, and digital innovation. This renewed assurance comes as African economies, including Nigeria, seek to leverage foreign direct investment for industrialization and job creation. The engagement underscores Beijing's broader push to reactivate investor confidence amid global economic uncertainties and geopolitical shifts. From Beijing, China, Patricia Esami-Luba.
And on health matters, Lassa fever, a deadly viral hemorrhagic illness, is caused by the Lassa virus and a direct contact with infected rodents or their bodily fluid is its primary mode of transmission. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, has confirmed that Lassa fever has claimed 118 lives between January and March this year. Oluseyi Adeagbo examines the disease characteristics and its impact on Nigeria's health system, vaccine prospects for the nation, and efforts to save the situation.
A Nigeria Center for Disease Control epidemiological overview of Lassa fever. The natural reservoir for the virus is a multi-marmoted rats, also known as the African rats, while other rodents can also act as carriers of the virus. The document also reveals that Nigeria have cases recorded all year round. The disease mode of transmissions is direct contact with urine, saliva, or blood of infected rodents.
It can also spread through contact with objects, household items, and surfaces contaminated with these droppings. Also through consuming food or water contaminated with these droppings. And of course, person-to-person transmission can also occur through direct contact with an infected person's blood, urine, feces, vomit, and other bodily fluids.
What are the symptoms of Lassa fever?
The disease initially presents like any other common illnesses accompanied by a fever, such as malaria. Other symptoms include headache, general body weakness, cough, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, muscle pains, chest pain, sore throat, and in severe cases, bleeding from the ears, eyes, nose, mouth, and other body openings. And that is why it is addressed to as hemorrhagic fever.
Case fatalities linked to Lassa fever are increasing in Nigeria during the period of January to March 2025. Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention recorded 3,465 suspected cases of Lassa fever across 91 local government areas. Out of the figure, 645 cases were confirmed and 118 deaths, resulting in a case fatality rate of 18.3%. 20 healthcare workers were also infected in 8 states of Nigeria. Lassa fever often starts with common flu-like symptoms, making early diagnosis critical, just as Nigeria continues to strengthen national resilience and preparedness.
There is an alarming increase in Lassa fever cases and deaths, signaling the outbreak severity. First, the case fatality rate has considered remain high. We have heightened our surveillance activities and preparing for this outbreak season. Critical medical supplies, infection prevention and control materials have been distributed to the various states nationwide. The technical working group has categorized this risk as high and put at response level 2 and advised that effort to tailor specifically to the states currently experiencing increased case burden.
Nigeria has always intensified surveillance. I've told you that since 2017, we have continuously reported confirmed cases. Luckily, we've been in touch with very many African countries before now, and so it will be important for us to, enhance surveillance. We're doing that also with the Port Health Service to be able to screen persons on our land borders.
Nigeria has since been strengthening national resilience and preparedness. Early in the year, the country activated a new Lassa coalition and governing entity with a target of developing national prevention strategies to combat Lassa fever, a disease of regional and global concern.
Our mission here is to ensure that we deliver, together with our global partners and CEPI and all others, an accessible, effective, safe vaccine through a robust regional and country-owned processes and leadership, while fostering the partnerships that will ensure that we mitigate the impact of this disease over time and build some of the residual capacities that can help us to deal with other pathogens that may afflict us either of today or of the future. The coalition that we're meeting here today is an important example of how we can rethink global partnerships, regional partnerships, and even national partnerships for vaccine introduction, vaccine development that is owned by all across national, regional, and global actors.
Though national emergency response to these disease outbreaks has often been widely praised due to swift action, public health coordination, international support, and building on lessons learned. But still, gaps exist in healthcare infrastructure like inadequate testing, insufficient protective equipment for healthcare workers, and challenges in contact tracing. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, has warned of intense heat nationwide with heightened risk of exhaustion. This warning was part of disclosures by experts on NTA Current Affairs program Nigeria Today. The prevailing weather condition is observed to have already triggered intense heat stroke and even diseases outbreak in some parts of the country.
Where you have you've cut down a lot of trees as well that could have provided that cooling effect. It has its own effect. But this is even beyond you having heat stress. The animals that depend if you're losing all of those, animals are running away, they're finding it difficult to survive, plants are finding it difficult to survive. So it has a cycle of how it affects us as a person as well. So it means there are a lot of things we need to do to make sure that we don't get to that point that they're like now running up and down when we don't even have enough health facilities in the first place.
Whatever you do and wherever you are, make sure that there's ventilation, that air is circulating around you. That's very important. 2, wear very light clothes, like the one I'm wearing. Very light. Clothes that will reflect light, that will not allow light to be absorbed, heat to be absorbed for your body to have increased temperature. That's very important. Drink plenty of water.
Ways to stay safe, what to expect, and the potential impact on environmental health and daily life were discussed. This is the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Here is a recap of our top stories. New Chairman, Group CEO. Edo State Governor pays condolence visit to families of victims of Uromi tragedy. Vice President Kashim Shettima urges Nigerians to embrace unity, peaceful coexistence, and tolerance as key pillars for national progress. Correspondent examines Nigeria's efforts against Lassa fever. Welcome back. In a world where cultural identity is increasingly important, knowing one's heritage is crucial for building self-awareness, confidence, and a sense of belonging. One of the leading schools in Abuja recognizes this significance and hosted our culture, our pride, an enchanting evening celebrating Nigeria's rich cultural diversity. Gufash Shaji Ugwanyi reports.
Together, we will fight the common enemy.
The event brought together children, parents, and guardians for a captivating night of music, dance, art, and storytelling. The children, dressed in vibrant traditional attires, took center stage, proudly displaying their cultural heritage. The evening also featured the children's creative interpretations of Nigerian cultures, highlighting the importance of preserving heritage.
The kids has really displayed something that is significant by dancing, using their dancing skills to showcase unity.
This is to bring every culture together because our children need to know the difference between each and every one of them. So this is for them to understand that in Nigeria, we have different cultures.
Also to imbibe this into their curriculum and
pursue it, go along with it. Other schools should encourage unity and diversity. There are various ethnicities we have in the country. We should not discriminate. We should allow love to lead as we collaborate to move the country forward.
As the night closed, the audience was left mesmerized, reminded of the significance of promoting cultural diversity amongst Nigerian children. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji Ugwanyi, NTA News.
And on global update, European Union Chief Ursula von der Leyen says the bloc still hopes for a negotiated solution to the expected imposition of sweeping U.S. tariffs this week, but all instruments are on the table to hit back if the need arises. Frama Panyi reports.
Von der Leyen noted that Europe has not started the tariff confrontation while addressing a European Parliament session. She, however, stressed that if it is necessary, Europe has a strong plan to retaliate and will use it.
We do not necessarily want to retaliate, but if it is necessary, we have a strong plan to retaliate and we will use it.
Meanwhile, the European Union's top diplomat on Tuesday said there is overwhelming evidence of war crimes in the Ukrainian city of Bucha, where Russia's army is accused of murdering hundreds of civilians.
In Bucha, the evidence is overwhelming. From photos to phone records and decoded call signs used by commanders of Russian radio channels, there is no denying it. Now, we know exactly who the perpetrators are.
Ukrainian authorities have opened more than 180,000 war crimes investigations, Zelensky said on Monday at a ceremony in Bucha, putting hopes on the International Criminal Court to bring the most high-level criminals to justice. Carlos stressed that the EU was supporting the Ukrainian Prosecutor General's office and was strengthening its capacity to investigate international crimes, including through a civilian EU advisory mission. Experts from 37 countries in February agreed on the legal foundations for the tribunal. Frama Panyi, NTA News.
And that concludes the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Stella Unamati.